What's up, guys? We're going to be doing a defense video today. Initially, I had planned for doing a different video. I had planned on going over a few more of the creatures and traps that have been affected by the defense crafting, and like some of them that are actually better in the chickenpoxed state rather than the new crafted state. But since there's going to be a patch on Thursday, I decided to wait a day and figure out what's going to actually happen on that patch. At least I think that's what they said, that they're going to be releasing a patch on Thursday. So I want to check to see if any of those are fixed before I do the video, since it won't be, a big deal. It won't even matter before that. So instead, we're going to do a defense video. I only have a handful of replays that I can show of this defense because it's fairly new. I spent a few hours over the weekend designing it overall. I've gotten some negative comments on this particular design. Mainly, let's see, I'll actually just go over them. They're not all negative, but some of them are interesting. I don't know. They're I mean, this one's positive, I guess. Can I be in your next video, please? I'm a huge fan. Please, please, please. 10 out of 10. Smiley face. So I don't know if that's exactly what you had in mind. You probably wanted a viewer castle or something, but I'll give you a shout out there. You're technically in my video. This one, pay to win, I guess, is probably the one. It's a little negative, but I mean, it's got a question mark, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna actually go over these. Normally, I don't go over comments in general in videos like this. But for pay to win, I did talk about how to farm Devlins, I'm pretty sure, in one of my videos. I have a total of 11 Devlins in this castle. There are people that have more than me, and almost everybody that I know that I talk to that plays Mighty Quest at least somewhat actively has at least 8 of them. It's not difficult to actually get these guys, or really anything, in terms of like specific creatures that you want. So tombstones, again, I said tombstones are one of the best ways of getting resources, specifically legendary resources. I've bought a handful, like I've bought one of each pack, I'm pretty sure, or I bought a couple of like the 100 packs, but I haven't bought any of the largest ones or something like that. Probably less than 500 blings on packs, I'm assuming. I spent about 3 to 5 hours farming chicken farms or mine farms throughout this week, and I even showed in one of my videos that I had 3 pages of epics and legendaries, or 3 or 4 pages of epics and legendaries, and that was from those farming runs. The farming runs you're going to have to do to get your common materials, like that you need to get common materials through farming runs, or else you're never going to get them. The other ones, which is actually what I have the majority of, are mainly from tombstones. Like that's where I get the majority, and hopefully they won't lower the drop rate on those. Specifically like the ginger oxide and the essence of something. I get a ton of these from tombstones. Generally, if I have like a castle full of 10 tombstones, I'll get around 6 of each, usually. And, my last castle filled up maybe once every 2 days. You log on once every 2 days, you have a full castle of tombstones, you loot them all. That's generally what I was doing, and I showed the defense that I was using to get those, which was mainly an old defense, like an chickenpox to defense, using ballista traps and stuff like that. And that's what I basically used to farm up that stuff. The Eagle Scrolls, and I still have a lot of these epics, like all of these are new, and most of these are from the legendaries that I was crafting into epics. Like I still have a bunch of legendaries in here, and I'm just kind of slowly crafting them in. Like I'm sure that I have one in my chamber right now waiting for me to collect it. But Eagle Soul specifically, you're going to have to farm. Usually you can get about 100 of these an hour, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, depending on your luck. But it's not difficult, they're common, so that's what I've really done to get my Devlin. Actually, when I opened all of my packs, when I went through, I bought one of each of them, I know that much. Except for the large one, I didn't buy one of those because I haven't bought any after that. When they first came out, my idea was to buy one of each just to see how the drop rates were, to see what they were all about, because that's kind of what I do. I test things for the community. And I probably should have even said that I don't think that they're worth it hardly at all. When I did open them, and I could just buy one right now for the heck of it, they don't really give you many legendaries. Hardly ever. I think I got 1 or 2 legendaries that I could actually use in a Devlin. Like 1 of each or something like that. Most of them are rares and a lot of them are common. So I probably got, a handful of the Eagle Souls from them, but not really the legendary drops. Most of those are from tombstones like this, which I don't really want to crash my game right now because it does happen to crash. I mean, there's two exceptionals, but you can get up to 5. I'm pretty sure I said this, 1 to 5 resources per tombstone materials. I'm not going to loot these just because I don't want to crash my game. And a lot of the time you'll get legendaries, so that's what you really want to go for if you're trying to farm these up. Obviously these Devlin, when this video comes out, might already be gone. They might already be from the limited time, but there's going to be a new trap in its place. Every one of these limited time offers, I'm probably going to try to get at least 8 of them. I specifically went for 11 because I wanted to build a castle that could be built out of sustained damage using a good majority of these. So I wanted 11 or 12 of them. I stopped at 11 because I don't feel like farming any more Eagle Souls right now. That's basically it. If I had more time and I wanted to do it, I would. There's a guy, I forget his name. It starts with a D, I think. Maybe it's a C. I don't know. There's a guy though. He's been mentioned on forums a couple times. I ran through his castle. He's got 50 or something of them, or maybe more. He might have like closer to 100. A lot of people are saying that he's like all pay to win, blah blah blah, whatever. He claims that it's mostly from farming, and if his numbers are correct, I mean, if he did farm like 8 hours a day for a week, then I could see him having that much. The legendary is a little bit harder because you do need tombstones, and it's, I guess if you build a castle out of Devlins, like if he had a castle like this out of Devlins and he was getting attackers and just sat there continually lowering his shield over and over and over again, he might be able to get enough tombstones in. Or there was like a 1 or 2 day period of time where you could either have a friend or, you know, like an alt account or something like that. You could have them running your castle constantly, just harvesting tombstones. He might have done that as well. It was a little annoying during that time because that was back when there was crashes just like literally all the time. But for anyone else who's saying that, you know, the castle is pay to win, 11 Devlins is not really that hard to get. If you haven't gotten them, you just haven't farmed, or your castle isn't generating enough tombstones. I'm not sure which one it is. But it's going to go for the next patch as well. Like, the same thing is going to happen. I'm not buying any more material packs at this point. I bought 2 themes this week, and I bought a couple material packs, and that was pretty much what I spent my blings on. But yeah, either way, it's not worth it. I'm not going to be buying any more of those material packs, but I will have 8 to 12 of every limited creature while I'm still playing the game. Let's see, there was some other comments I wanted to talk one about. This one specifically. This one isn't really negative. He just says, the only thing I don't get is the hamster wheel rooms. So before I talk a little bit more about this, I want to go over the defense itself, because I haven't done that. So this is the room that I spent the majority of my time on. The hamster wheel rooms you see up here, these are the ones that he's talking about. I'll get to those in a second and why they're in my castle, in case he's a viewer or not. I think it was the Crimson Link, if I remember correctly. So I'm pretty sure he's a viewer. If not, he's a higher level person and probably will see the video. A lot of the higher level people at least watch through my defense videos, skip around them, around in them or whatever. Anyway, the start of this is for anti-kiting. You have 3 rotating flame traps. It's a pretty big investment, and 2 ballistic cannons. Everything is to kind of stop them from standing here and volleying down this hallway. If you straight up just volley down the hallway, you actually can't hit these guys until you remove both of these barricades, so it's pretty difficult to actually do that. Mages have the easiest time, obviously. Mages have probably the strongest anti-trap skill, being EMP. They can just kind of get in here, EMP the hamster wheels, walk over here, and then vortex everything, and with vortex it'll go through barricades, whereas volley will not. I hope that the mage's skills in general get a little bit of fixes. I believe there's a way to get death bolt through walls as well. So there was some, if anybody was playing way back in closed beta about a year ago, there is a lot of that sort of thing, like abilities going through walls, and yeah, like Smite from the Knight had range and could go through walls. Volley could go through walls. Pretty much every ability could go through walls if it had range. Like, it was ridiculous. I think Headshot couldn't, but that's about the only one. So yeah, that's the first room. There's a lot of anti-kiting here. I actually put a lot of this specifically in to see if I could trip up Genesis RVA, and we'll watch his replay of my castle, because I was on his stream, just kind of chatting with him and his viewers for a little bit the other day. I think he stopped playing again because the game is just in a really bad spot right now. I mean, it's pretty obvious. to a lot of the people that have been playing for a year or so. But anyway, he tends to abuse the attack ticket system, and that's not a bad thing. Like I suggest that everybody who at least has the gear or the knowledge or the skill set to be able to do that, to absolutely abuse it, because right now that's the only way that we're gonna ever get it fixed. That's the way that uh, like Mighty Quest developers seem to balance things. Is if things get abused enough, they'll actually take the time to do it. And I don't want to say anything really bad about them. Specifically, it's just like that's like people were abusing fire mines, they got nerfed. People were abusing Scorpios back in the day, they got nerfed. People were abusing uh, pull chains and combos like that and stuff like that. So hopefully, if enough people start doing this, it will get nerfed after a while. But basically, what he was doing is what he does in his attacks is he aggro's the first group, kites forward, and then after he gets away from the first group, everything else will be easy, because as soon as you get to like this group, the attack ticket system won't register right away. Everyone's probably seen it, is they have that little lightning bolt, but before that actually takes effect, they run away for like 2 or 3 seconds, and during that time you can get past that room and get into the next area, and then these guys run away for a time, and then you can get into the next room, and these guys run away for a time, you can get into the boss room, these guys run away, and then finally you're in the boss room with no traps or down towards the end, and you can just drop a volley and everything's dead, and it all dies. And that's the real bad thing about the attack ticket system. And the attack ticket system either needs work or it needs to go before like that can be balanced. So specifically, I was trying to build this room to go against him, and I did force out 2 potions during this room, but that's all I really forced out. Once he got past this room, he was just able to clean it up too easily. But basically, it's similar to my Ballista Trap room, except I dropped a silence here so that people can't use Spiral Shot or any abilities to try to get through these barricades faster. I dropped a second silence trap here, which isn't as necessary, but it does go through the wall. So as you're killing off these, you'll get silenced at the edge of here. So it might help, it might not. It's only 4 points, and it was a cool thing that I realized I could do, that I could go through walls with silence traps. But this one definitely is worth it, like this one silence trap right here. It does make the AI spaz out a little bit on these 2 creatures, but not so much that they walk outside of these guys' aggro zones, so they still get aggroed at the exact same time. I spent too much time on this room, so let's continue onwards. This is that one was, what is this room? It's like a junction. It was in my last video as well. It's the one with, the wide open space and the choke, and then this is the T-junction room. I don't know the names of these off the top of my head. This is Corner Bridge, I think, and then this goes into the mouse wheel room. A lot of people know these rooms just because they're used pretty frequently. So I'll get into the mouse wheel room in a second. The silence trap, this is actually a little bit too light on the anti-kiting. I could use a few more ballistas here. Possibly even removing this silence trap with a ballista might be a little bit better. You want to stop people from being able to, again, headshotting this first one or volleying it or whatever you need to do, and then once you get past that one, I think you'll still get stopped by this. Whenever there's like a wall or something like that, it stops volleys. That's why I always block these off, because it's really good against archers, but not so good against mages. Once this is gone, they could volley things from like standing on top of the mouse wheels and volley this down here, and then it's going to be kind of useless, which is the whole point of this castle, is to get them inside of the room with a bunch of Devlins or Goatmen. I want to make use of the new units, and I think they're probably the best units we have right now, especially for sustained damage castles. There was another comment in the replays that was like, a bunch of kill zones or something like that. I don't know, like a lame bunch of kill zones or whatever. It is designed for sustained damage, just because they have the opportunity to kill you because they are high burst units. They're also the best at actually dealing their damage. Like, they're kind of hard to dodge if you get into mid range with them. Like Ominous Orb Stairmasters have never been used for kill zones. That I wouldn't have these in here if it was designed to just be a bunch of death traps. It's designed to do sustained damage. Most likely, if you pot once, you can get through these groups by themselves. So they're all designed to take 1 potion from you, and at the end you have 5 total groups with a bunch of traps. Hopefully that'll use up 4 potions. And you'll see in the replays a bunch of people do use 3 and 4 potions quite frequently. Mouse wheel rooms, let's talk about those for a second, because that's what I wanted to address next. This is the only room. The reason why I use these rooms specifically, and they aren't even heavy mouse wheel rooms. Like, you've seen bigger mouse wheel rooms with more ballistas, more mouse wheels, and mines on each side. I'm not using them for that purpose. The real purpose for this is, if you notice, every single room has like a lead up anti-kiting area into the actual mob. Try to keep them from actually kiting forward, and that's it. Again, um, you have the lead area which kind of stops you from initiating the fight too quickly, and the anti-kiting. This is the only room that has a double choke. I need to have these rooms in here to be able to use all of my points effectively. Like, it's the only room that has a double choke so that I can use... I don't have any rooms left, is basically the problem. I can't... I have to make use of a room with a double choke. That's the only reason that I have these in here, and it's the only room that has a double choke that's like straight, narrow, and will provide the like exit resistance and the entrance resistance to these rooms with creatures in them. Everything else, it does have an exit resistance, but it's not that strong. Like this one here isn't that strong, but these ones, you know, they're mouse wheels, and they'll make someone take trap damage if they go into this room. So that's the whole purpose behind it, is because they have 2 choke points, and I'm using all 8 out of 8 rooms. The only way that I could do differently is if I removed 2 of these groups out of here. Yeah, I think it would have to be 2 groups. I would have to get rid of like this one to get rid of this room, and then this one to get rid of this mouse wheel room, and then I would be able to put in like another room, and I think I guess I could add one more mob group in, but I would be losing one of them, and then I could put the rest into my boss room. That's the only thing that I could do to change this up a little bit, but there would be more kiting area if I did that as well. So that's just the way that I designed it, because there's two chokes on the ends of them. So it gives like the the exit resistance for this room, and it at the same time gives the entrance resistance, like the trap pressure at the entrance and the trap pressure at the exit. So I can put 2 groups. Whereas like here, I have a group, and then I have like some empty space where this room can't really be used because there's no choke. Like, this isn't a good enough choke to actually have a group in there. If I had spike traps or something along the bottom here, they can easily like come up, have no trap pressure here, dart in, pull this group, and then have some exit, some like room to kite back in here. So that's the whole purpose. Hopefully that makes sense. It's like I was looking for rooms that I could, because I knew that people don't really like these mouse wheel rooms anymore, and I was looking for rooms that I could use, and like I could use something like a spike room or something like that with cross hull 6. I could use that, but there's not really anything that has 2 chokes. Like, this has 2 chokes, but it's a terrible room. It's too much area to cover. If I put a mob group in there, it'd be too easy to kite around this big room. There used to be rooms that had multiple chokes. Like, this room used to be really good. It used to have 3 chokes on it, but they opened a lot of these rooms up a long time ago. Corner Bridge used to be crazy. It used to have like this would go down to here, and then it would be one by one all the way down. It used to just be 1 by 1 the entire thing. Yeah, there's just no double chokes that I could use, so that's the purpose. Anyway, you have this these 2 mouse wheel rooms into a bunch more Devlins with a couple Goatmen. I really want to click that tombstone, but I'm not going to do it because I know it's going to crash my game if I do. Again, same basic concept. There's ballistas. I have a few different things going on here where I have 2 new ballistas and 4 old ballistas. Old ballistas deal more damage, and new ballistas attack faster. So if they all attack at the same time, these new ones are going to come back a little bit quicker, and it's going to offset the times that these things are attacking. So hopefully, if they ever take a break to try to like headshot or volley down this hallway, they're going to get hit by at least 2 or 4 of these, depending on when they do it. That's at least the hope. And then I have a couple of these mouse wheels that are new, and a bunch that are old. Old deal more, old go quicker, and new deal more damage. These are just some of the changes that I don't know if they're bugs or if they are actually supposed to be there, but these are a couple of the changes that I was going to go over today in my video, but I'm going to wait for that update tomorrow or on Thursday, whenever this video comes out, to see if they fix these, because they're specific reasons that I'll get into in that video if the time comes that I have to make it. So again, anti-kiting, and then you have another bunch of these. There is another thing that I need to say, is that this room the Defendatrons, they are chickenpox, but they're also on bodyguard. Having chickenpox Defendatrons, they don't really deal much damage anyway, and I think the defense is pretty much the same on them, so they work exactly the same. Same as dampeners, they're only there to silence. It works exactly the same as the old one. And these guys right here and here are on AoE, and then these ones, this one is on AoE as well, but these ones are on. Actually, these ones I think are on AoE. For a minute, I thought they were on the bodyguard, but they're actually on AoE. Yeah, aura. This is actually a little bit weaker as well. It's not as good at anti-kiting as the other one, but I didn't have enough points. Initially, I had the entrance similar to this one, where I had 3 of these, because it's really good at anti-kiting, but I needed more points. As you can see, I'm completely maxed out. And then again, another mouse wheel room to lead into my ballista room. Or boss room, rather, not ballista room, boss room. This is just a snipe smelly archer, because they actually deal really high damage. If you have the corrosive mine debuff on you and this archer hits you, it's like almost 1,500 damage, depending on your resistances. Anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500. You know, their physical damage is really high, and it's also a nice long range unit inside of the boss room if they do kite forward into this. You know, they might not think that anything can hit them. They might have missed the archer or something like that, and then that guy hits you for 1,500, and it can help out quite a bit. So that's the castle as a whole. It's not the greatest castle I've built, but it does the job. It does get a few kills here and there. All of these Devlin, if you don't have them, and of course there's a network error. Okay. All of these Devlin, if you don't have like 11 like I do here, they can all be replaced with boomerang Goatmen. They are pretty much like, it's weird to say this, but they're pretty much the same unit. They do the same exact things. They're really good in mid-range combat against the attacker, and they don't necessarily need the person to be stunned in order to be effective. Just the Goatmen have 400 to 500 less damage when they attack. Let's see, do they attack slower than the Devlin? Slow, and very slow attack speed and slow movement speed. So yeah, the Devlin also attacks slightly faster, but yeah, basically the Devlin are a better version of the Goatmen. So let's watch a couple of replays, because I think I covered everything about the defense. Just barricades literally everywhere. Like, I ran out of barricades a lot when I was building this, and I had to farm. Which is probably why it took me a couple days to actually get this completed. Like, I started off with the first couple of rooms, and then I had to farm for some more barricades, and I completed the rest. Let's jump into some replays. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go down towards the end here. Trying to figure out where. Genesis RVA was the second person to run my castle. I think this guy was the first. So let's watch the first thing. So I guess it was a day ago, because I remember, I think I checked this guy, and this guy was my old castle. So I think it's approaching 3 days, but it's not quite ticked over yet that my castle's been validated. So let's watch this guy. He actually comes in, I remember this guy, he comes in with no potions. So it's kind of difficult. He does have EMP, I believe. Yeah, and most mages do have EMP. I think if you're a mage and you're not using it, you're probably doing something wrong. But he waits for everything to come back online, which is kind of weird. He should have just went in as soon as he had a better EMP before, and now he's going to get hit with some mouse wheel rings. Now he should be vortexing all of these guys. He waited too long. Yeah, if he vortexed everything right there, it would have been better. I don't know, EMP, it's good, but if you give up like one of your other AoE abilities, like we'll see some mages that go through this castle really, really well with Vortex and another AoE ability and just like shred through everything because of high DPS. The Defendatron is supposed to be defending the Devlins instead of the dampener. One of the dampeners sometimes gets shielded. It seems to be almost random because they're both at the same distance from the Defendatron. Like the times when I was testing my own castle, the Defendatrons were shielding the Devlins and nothing but that, but for some reason it messed up in the actual, like, when other people go through it. I don't know. I might have to redo that and like figure out what the actual problem is, or maybe see if I can change things around a little bit. But it still works and it still does its purpose. It gets a lot of kills. That first room is really good at forcing either a couple potions or a kill, depending. Which is good, because I needed that room to be really good, because there's so much kiting space in between that if you can get past that room easily, it makes it too easy to get through like the rest of my castle. So that was a really good EMP, as you can see. Like, he was able to get all the way up here without taking any damage. Now is he actually... yeah, he's gonna run back. See, I would think that another EMP would be good, since EMP is only on a 5-second cooldown. There's not really any reason not to use it. I actually want to pay attention to the mana and see if it ever puts them in a mana problem. Using 150. How much are their other abilities? They're not really high enough. I think let's see, 200 total. Yeah, that's still not enough. I'm trying to figure out how you could like make EMP a little bit more balanced. And even the mana cost, like, mana goes up on the mage so quickly anyway, that even if it was the fact where you use an EMP and you can't dash away immediately, it wouldn't even really matter, because the mana just comes back so quickly that you could probably use EMP and 250 mana abilities and still have the mana to do it, because by the time you cast them, you'll already have that mana all the way back. Like, he used EMP, and I don't know, it does keep his mana down a little bit. It's alright. Alright, so I don't know how many times he's died, but he came in with no potions, so you can kind of assume that every death is like a potion. I think he died 3 times, and he's about on like the 3rd group. So you can see how this can work as a sustained damage castle. Like, you could use a potion to get through it, but at the same time, if you have potions, you know, you're going to use 4 of them. This is probably one of the weaker groups, but it does work well if they all land kind of together. You can see how much damage that's dealing. Like, that deals pretty good damage. So, I think that they're probably usable. At least somewhat. These are very minimalist, but they do their jobs. That was basically the whole goal of these Mousehua rooms, was just enough to do its job. Like, as few points as I could use to still do the job that I needed to do, which is basically just anti-kiting. I give no like reasons for them to actually go to the sides. Like, there's no mobs, or there's no mobs and no mines out there. Just the absolute basics of anti-kiting. That's the only thing that I want for those. Alright, so he gets through. I think he died 4 times. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I wasn't paying too much attention. But yeah, I'm just going to leave the replay because he takes a little bit of time to get out of the castle. Alright, so that was... Alright, so let's watch Genesis RVA. I made him use 2 potions. We'll see that both of those are actually at the start of the castle. Or maybe it's not going to work. Hold on. Alright, there's still a few bugs going around in this game with network errors and stuff like that. There's also some problems I've noticed in the United States right now with the some of the backbone servers that are going to West Coast from East Coast. I've had some problems in like League of Legends and stuff like that, with my ping being quite high, being an East Coaster, in the like 150s and staying there, which is pretty uncommon for me. I usually have around 84 is my average, but there's some problems with one of the backbone servers. I think it's in like Seattle, and it's backing up during peak times. I need a vacation. So that could be the problem here as well. So you can see how he basically, you can see that the little lightning bolts as they come across right here, they all run away. And he's able to get through. He has very high DPS and very good gear as well, so I mean, that helps him doing this also. I've tried to do this a couple times. Sometimes I'm successful, and sometimes I don't kill barricades quick enough, and they react to me and kill me. But yeah, it's pretty good. And then once he gets to the boss room, even if you have boss room, you have trap pressure in your boss room, he can just kite to the back. And then the DPS is so high nowadays that you can one-shot almost everything. Especially these Devlins. Like, this is the weakness of Devlins, as I said it in the video that I did about them, is their hit points are quite low, and their long-range capability is pretty weak as well. That's another problem I'm having, is I switched out my bow from a ballista because a new bow gave me like plus 300 DPS, one of those repeaters. So I decided to try that out because I didn't have a legendary or epic bow for a ballista. And that's hurting me a little bit because I don't have that same range that I used to have. Alright. So we'll watch just a handful of replays. We'll watch a couple of archers. Let's watch some people that use high amounts of potions. Like, you'll see that people that actually do get through, for the most part, use a lot of potions. Like, this guy used 3 potions, this guy used 4 potions. There's quite a few higher count potions. Turkel actually is a pretty good mage, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, he's been around for a long time. I don't know if he mains a mage or if he mains an archer and just use EMP, because it's out right now. But let's watch like some archers, like 3 potions here. We'll watch this guy. I just want to like make it have the feeling of that sustained damage castle that I was going for. Show that off before the video ends. Probably once the new thing comes out, I'll probably rebuild the castle based a little bit more around that. Just because I want to, like, I'm testing out the units, right? So that's why I'm using a lot of Goatmen here and a lot of Devlins, is because I haven't really built a castle with them yet. After I build a castle with them, I might have 1 or 2 groups with these guys in it for my next castles, but I won't build it solely around these guys. And that's why, if the castle looks a little bit repetitive, like, that's the whole reason. Is, yes, they're really good units, but at the same time I want to try them out and see how they all are working. Like, I made my own analysis from them just by testing them out a little bit, but I need to see how everybody else reacts to them, to see how really good they are, and, you know, if they can do something that I'm not aware of, you know, if they're good at short or long range. I actually remember this replay. These guys actually kind of bug out here, and they won't kite properly. I don't know why. It must have been something with how he destroyed the barricades, and like they were stunned or something at the same time, and their AI glitched out, and they actually still think that there's barricades there, so they won't actually move. But if he goes into the room, they'll attack him. I don't know what this was. It was a complete bug, and you know, it's unfortunate because he's not going to get past this room now. He does have volley. He could volley these guys down the hallway. That would be what I would do in this circumstance. Either that or go forward. But going forward, as we can see, it's pretty difficult. Silence traps as well. The old ones are better than the new ones. They trigger more often. Alright. Actually that wasn't I thought this was the Crimson Link, but it was actually the End Time. Crimson Link ran my castle. He's a knight, but I don't know where his replay was. He got through it though. He's a really good knight. We can watch this knight, actually, level 30 a knight using 4 potions. That's pretty uncommon. It's hard to kill knights these days. They're so tanky. Alright, so let's see how his tanky stats are. This won't update quite yet. He doesn't actually have 2,900 hit points. It takes a second for it to for him to take damage or get an EXP. It's one of those. There we go. Now he has 5,313 hit points. So let's see how he takes that much damage. So you can see, like, that is so tanky. He only takes 70 damage per tick. My archer takes close to 150. How much does he take from a Devlin, I wonder? It looks like about 600 when I take about 1,000. So yeah, he takes quite a bit less damage. This is actually a pretty good castle against knights, though, because they have to, like, specifically this room as well. They have to get through these Defendatrons before they can get to the easy-to-kill Devlins, so it's difficult for them to do that, and they take a bunch of damage in the process. That's one good thing against Knights, is a lot of units that are all protected by, like, tankier units, is those high DPS mobs will get their damage dealt a lot easier against a Knight, because they don't have that strong AoE that other classes do. Not many Knights take King Dragon Slash, although this guy has Flame Coat for his AoE, which it's still a pretty good ability. But King Dragon Slash takes so much mana that it's actually hard to make use of that ability. But yeah, you guys, for people who stream the game, you might actually randomly see me come into your stream and just start hanging out and talking to your viewers and stuff like that. I've been doing that more frequently. It's actually pretty refreshing to meet all of my, like, to just go to a stream and have like 8 or so people in there, and then, you know, a couple of them are my fans and they give me, they give you all these compliments and stuff like that. It's really quite nice. Like, the friendly community that's like surrounding my YouTube channel and stuff like that is really what keeps me going on this game. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't be playing this anymore. Just because the updates, like, I haven't had this kind of patience for a developer in a long time. It's tough to stick with this game sometimes. I enjoy it, and I probably would still play it, I just wouldn't play it nearly as much.
My tummy hurts.
So he's got, I think it's the Stairmaster's next, and he's got 1 potion left. And then Stairmaster's into boss room, I think, is what's next. Or no, this is actually Devlin and Goatmen. Oh yeah, he's got a lot left to go. Yeah, he probably will have to use his last potion here, maybe even die here. I think just use his potion though. Yeah, he's gonna be able to get through it. Once you get through those Defendatrons, these guys die real quick. But Goatmen can definitely be just as deadly as Devlins. I don't think either one of them, like, you don't really need that much damage. If they hit, they're gonna deal enough damage to force a potion or kill someone. It's just getting them to hit is hard because they're not good in those long-range confrontations. That's why you have to try to force people in using good trap pressure like this. That's the whole goal behind it. Alright, so now we got Stairmasters. I want to see how these guys perform against Knights. It looks like he just... Well, no, they're still all 3 of them are still alive. Yeah, they deal good damage. When they overlap like that, the ticks of damage is they're so quick that it's pretty strong.
Much better.
I think Stairmasters could definitely make a comeback. The problem is their field used to be larger. The old field, I'm pretty sure it used to be larger than it is now. That was like a tier 4 upgrade that they used to get, and they don't have that anymore since the update. Alright, so he's going to die right at the end. So I was barely able to kill this guy. Like, actually, he might have been able to get through it if he used Healing Strike well. Or Shielding Strike, rather, now. The thing I like on Knights is actually, Lashing Flames would have helped him a lot here as well. When you have larger areas, you can Lashing Flames one of them into you and, like, Shielding Strike and then like kill it and then wait for that cooldown and do the same thing again. I have all my mines in the same area right at the end. I've talked about this again a little bit, but I'll mention it again. Having all your mines at the end makes it it makes it easier for a attacker to only 2-star your castle because they don't get that like 30 extra seconds up front. They have to wait until the end of the castle. So if they are close to timing out, like let's say they're close to timing out, you know, right towards the end, like right here, they're about to time out, but they get 4 mines at this room, then they might get that extra 20 seconds, kill this off, and finally get to the rest of your mines. Like having all of your mines at the end, they don't have that extra 30 or 40 seconds throughout your castle. They might time out like right here before they actually get to the mines. Whereas if the mines were all at the start of your castle, all in like this room or something, those extra 40 seconds would be here when they're killing this last mob group, and they might actually make it to the end. And yeah, I do have a legendary in here. I think this one, yeah, this one's a reforge. Another useless item. I got 1 item since I've been doing this maybe twice a day, reforging and crafting, and so I got 1 item that was an upgrade, which is a better level Bogart's Cape. I had one at like level 24, I got a level 31. The rest of this stuff is, like, I looted most of this. I looted this pirate set right here. This is a temporary thing. I have a secondary. I have Bogart's Fancy Hat, but it's only level 22. If it was level 30, I would use it for sure. A lot of my my items are old. Like these lower level things are all from closed beta. They're like really old items. Like last summer, I looted these. The Bogart's Fancy Hat, Ring of Amazement, and Amulet of Awesome are all from closed beta like a year ago. I haven't been able to replace them. Alright, let's jump into like one more replay, and then we'll probably end this video. It actually turned out to be a little bit longer because I was ranting about things at the beginning. Alright, Runaways are just a little bit weak right now. I'm not gonna watch that. Actually, this guy ends up getting through. Could watch that, but I don't think so. Let's watch something different. I might have already watched him. Let's watch like another archer win. Or maybe like a mage. Let's watch this guy's first replay. That seems good. Alright. I don't think I've watched this one yet. If he actually goes. There we go.
To think of the untold horrors your
See, I think the next thing that's supposed to come in the next patch, Devlins are going to go away next patch, and then I think they're bringing in a trap. There's a couple things that were leaked on the forums. There's like a spike trap that's like a corrosive mine type thing, and then I think there's like some sort of an acid ballista trap that might come. I don't know. There was 4 total images that were shown, but I don't know. I think I've seen the acid ballista cannon before. I think it was in a NPC castle a long time ago, so it might just have those assets from that castle still in the directory. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what it is. I'm wondering if they're going to bring Devlins back after a couple of weeks, or if they're going to just make them as a normal monster, like, soon. I can't imagine that they do this work and have this unit that, like, costs a bunch, but they don't actually release it at some point to, like, other people. Because if you've been, like, living under a rock or not following Mighty Quest, like, actively, I can't imagine that they want those people to never have the option to play with the Devlin. Especially with it being such a strong unit. They might just balance it and nerf it downwards to make it useless, I don't know. We'll see how they actually handle this. That'll be interesting to see, because if they're planning on having limited time units, like once every couple weeks or a month, at some point I feel like they'll have to do some sort of a balancing update for them, or maybe just leave them as is and keep making things more and more OP. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. The worst thing would probably be to nerf it and release it to everybody. I don't know. Nerfing it in general would probably be the worst thing, because everybody like scrambled to try to get this, or possibly even paid real money to get them. But they are really strong right now. Like, bringing them in line with Goatmen wouldn't be an outrageous thing. Having their damage down to like 750 would even be fine. That's 1/4 of what it is now, and I think I would still use them at 750 damage. That being said, I mean, defending is in a bad spot right now anyway, so we don't even really need to talk about the nerfs to Devlins. It's just, I know it's going to be a frustrating unit that probably a lot of people are going to complain about. That was interesting. These guys actually didn't aggro, which is weird. I'm going to take a look at that, because I haven't actually touched my castle since this. I just want to take a look at this aggro really quick, and then I'm probably going to end the video. Let's see. What room was that? I think it was this one. So he pulled like one of these guys. Don't crash. See, there's 2 of those though. I just want to show that off. I accidentally clicked that, but I just got 2 Danger Oxide from that 1 tombstone. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's how you get Devlins, and that's how you're probably going to get the next traps as well. The next limited time unit. So everything is linked together. I don't know why that happened. I guess it was just a weird way, or maybe it was this room? Either way, I do have all my aggro working properly. So I'm not sure why the rest of that didn't aggro. I guess it was just weird that how the vortex caught that last unit. Maybe it just didn't register properly. Might have been a bug of some kind. But yeah, 2 Danger Oxide from 1 tombstone. Like, that's pretty common. When you have 10 tombstones, like, some of them won't have them, but some of them will have 2 legendaries pretty frequently, I've noticed. Especially if you have Devlins already in your castle, but at the time I didn't have Devlins, and I was still getting them from ballista traps. That's the main thing that I was using, is old ballista traps were getting most of my kills at that time, so who knows. It might depend on what castle you build, it might not, but I was still getting a bunch of them. That's how I made all of my Devlin. I got 1 legendary or 2 legendaries from packs, and that was it. Anyway, I'm going to end the video. For some reason my throat's hurting me. I guess it was just me being sick last week. I'm still not fully recovered from it. But yeah. Tomorrow I'll probably go over the patch, and then depending on what the patch entails, I might do that creature video that I was going to do today on Friday, or on Saturday, I guess that is when that will come out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.